we could have pullbacks to this level, to that support there, all right, and price retesting back into that level, all right, then a continuation to the upside. But for gold, hey peeps, FX right here, the prophetic analyst. So welcome back to our usual weekly market focus for the week of the 3rd to the 7th of February, which is more like the first week of February. And also this week we are also expecting NFP, so there will be a lot of volatility in this week. Okay, so if you're new to this channel, please do what to smash the subscribe button, like, share, and drop a comment. It costs $0 to drop a comment, $0 to like and share. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into our screens. Okay, so we're actually starting with Xauusd, which is gold. For gold, you guys can see how we predicted gold into precision. Price came into these areas and we had that massive push all the way to just like we predicted into precision, price to react off these zones and a massive bullish continuations to the upside, which is what we apparently had at the time. So now we can see that gold is more like bullish, or gold has been more like bullish. Okay, and also very important, gold has created a new all-time high of 2800 ounce, okay, which is somewhere around this peak here. All right, so you can see that gold has been very massively bullish. Okay, so this is what we have been doing in the past few months to analyze all this bullishness from the upsides, and we have been analyzing it into precision. So since this is a new month, it's very important to look at how last month closed. Okay, the candle closing for the previous month. All right, so seeing here on gold, last month closed with super bullish candle. A new all-time highs was also being created of 2800, and from there we can see. So what should we be expecting? Should we be expecting more bullishness or some bearishness all the way to the downside? All right, so how are we going to know this? We are going to dive down to our lower time frame. So we go to our daily time frames to see what price actually has to show us on the daily time frame. So for daily time frame, price actually closed on Friday. Okay, so this was more like Friday's candle, somewhere around here. So Friday's candle was being closed with a pin bar kind of candle, or you could call it a doji. All right, which you guys, if you are used to your chart patterns, you know what this means. And also I have free courses about chart patterns or candlestick patterns on my free Telegram community. So if you are not on my free Telegram community, you can click on the link on the description to join our free Telegram community. There you can see the free course on the candle pattern on the amongst the files in which I've sent in previous times on the group. Okay, so here we can see price closing on Friday, which more like this pin bar or a doji kind of candle, and you guys know what this means. It potentially means reversals, and this is happening right after price has broken out of a previous resistance, which was also the previous all-time high, which was 2700. All right, so how can we make the best out of this trade? Should we be seeing more bullishness on price? Should we be seeing more bearishness on price? This is what I'm going to help you guys do. Okay, that's why they call me the prophetic analyst. So I'm going to plot trend lines. You guys know I rarely plot trend lines, but I'm going to do that today for you guys. Okay, so that you could appreciate what we're doing here. All right, so we now have a trend line coming all the way from the downside to the upside. So I'm going to give you guys more like a two-way scenario, but I'm really big about the sales. Okay, I think it's high time price has to drop. Okay, like I said, on the monthly time frame, that price closing is it's looks more like a fake out. Okay, it looks more like a fake out. So we have a trend line coming all the way from the downside. So it only makes sense if higher time frame traders. Okay, we can only confirm this trend is slightly about to change if we have breakouts from this zone. Mind you, this zone is a resistance zone from the higher time frames. Okay, if you have a breakout of that, maybe a bounce here, like a pullback there, then more continuations to like our 2700 ounce all the way to the downside. Or we could also have something like this, a price breaking that trend line, a bounce of that trend line on price, then we have more bearish continuations to 2700. Okay, but before this, I'm going to show you guys a very nice tricky way to enter this, because this is happening from the lower time frames. Okay, before price moves on the higher time frame, you may be missing some pips. You can have some build-ups already happening on the lower time frame. So if you are my mentee, or you have been following our free classes in our free live sessions in which we hold weekly on our Telegram group, okay, you know what this means. Okay, and if you're also used to chart pattern, this also means something. But for now, this does not really look like a chart pattern yet, but it actually looks like my kind of A setups, which what I call divergence. Okay, so like I always say, every head and shoulders is a preceding divergence, or every head and shoulders is a preceding divergence. Okay, so apparently I don't need any soothsayer than myself to tell me that this is a divergence. Price is most likely creating series of highs, okay, but in form of a divergence. Okay, so what do we do in this case? I have free videos here on YouTube speaking about divergence. So it only makes sense you plot your neckline of your divergence, and also price could also give us something like, at the time, price could also give us something like a head and shoulder. Okay, but for now it doesn't look like a head and shoulder, but for now it's just a divergence. Okay, so with time we could have something like this and price drop. Okay, so now you guys can see what it looks like. Okay, even though you want to put it here, that still makes sense, but for now we still keep it as a divergence. Okay, so you can see how this looks clearly now. You guys can appreciate that right now, but initially a lot of you might not be able to spot that. So this is what we do with over half a decade of trading experience. Okay, so moving forward, so how can we enter this trade? So now that we have established our neckline from the divergence, we can, or a head and shoulders that we are anticipating, we have to wait for price to clear these levels. Okay, no break of structures, no entries. Okay, so wait for a break of structure, a retest there, then first level you target your trend line. It's very important. Okay, target that trend line right there, and you can go for your second levels, which is for the higher time frames, which is at 2700 all the way to the downside. So basically this is how you can snipe gold for next week. So this is more like a free trade signals for you guys. All right, you can put your stop somewhere around here, stop somewhere around there, and like I said, then first level you target this trend line, because most likely there will be a bounce of this trend line, probably back to these zones, or a little bounce before the drop continuations, and then you can go all the way to the downside. So this is more like a 1:3, 1:4 kind of trade. So do well to mark this out on your PC or whatever device that you're using to trade. Scary scenario, all right, for now. So we could be seeing price reacting off this key level, which price is already there, 1.05, and a pushback continuations to 1.02 to the downside, or we could even have. Welcome back. I believe you guys saw how we predicted the Euro USD into precision. These are still the same zones, all right, same monthly areas of interest, our monthly AOI in which we spoke about. You can see me writing there. This has been here for the past, I think, 5 months or more, all right, since last year we have been having this monthly AOI for price to clear structure and continue to the downside. So price most likely had reacted off the monthly area of interest, which is these zones here, which I did marked out, and I also stated it on our last week video, in which you guys can see that super nice bearishness all the way to the downsides. And if you calculate here from price movement all the way from there to where price was, we had over 170 pips of drop last week, which we took advantage. Signals were also been saying that I'm going to show you guys on a lower time frame, and overall we are targeting over 300 to 400 pips drop. So even before we get to 1,000 pips drop, so far we have done like we have done 1,000 pips over, or close to 1,000 pips just around this area. We had 300 pips down, 300 to 400 pips up. Okay, we had like 400 pips down, 300 to 400 pips up, and another 300 to 400 pips down, so which is basically more than 1,000 pips drop to the downsides, and which I have been predicting that every week in, week out here on our our weekly market forecast. So that is why you should be watching our videos. And if you are still watching this video to this very moment, please do well to smash the subscribe button, like, and drop a comment on the comment section. So moving forward for Euro USD, we are still very much tanking all the way to the downside. But let's go to our daily time frames and our 4-hour time frame. So you can see this is the sales, Euro USD sales in which we took for last week. Signals were also being sent, okay, which I'm going to drop it or paste it somewhere around in this video. You can see we are already up. We're already up like a very nice 1:1. Okay, they're about there, a very nice 1:1. For me, I'm still holding these trades. A lot of people were also out already on the trades, but I know my trading confirmation, so I'm still very much holding that trade all the way to the downside. Okay, so we are still very much bearish on Euro USD. So going to our 4 hours to see how we're able to take a trading advantage of this pay. Okay, so we can see for last week I also explained how we were able to enter these trades on the free Telegram community. So like I said, it's very important you should be on a free Telegram community, because I dish a lot of value on our free Telegram community. So if you are not there, click on the link on the description to join, and you see how we're able to do this. So actually this was the first trade. We took 2 trades, first trades and the second trade. Okay, this second trade here was a trade that we took during our live session on the free group. Okay, so I held the live session, I gave them this trade, and as you can see, we are still very much bearish all the way to the downside, which I'm going to add somewhere around in this video. So we apparently we are still looking forward for more bearish continuations on Euro USD all the way to downsides. You know, overall target is this 100% retracement level looking left, which is our 1.01 area. Okay, but like I always say, we trade from zones to zones. So basically we are going from one zone, we will be going from one zone to the other. Okay, so for this week, where is our next possible areas? But for me, we are still very much bearish. Okay, we are still very much bearish. So if let's say you missed this trade, how can you hop on for this week on these trades? Okay, so we have basically have a minor zones like here. Right, we basically have like a minor zones, kind of a minor zones like here. So what you should be patient enough for price. Trading is all about patience. Another break and retest here. All right, a retest on that zone, then you go for your first level, which is 1.026. then you can go all the way to a 1.017. okay, hopefully NFP, in which is going to drop this week on Friday 2:30 p.m. Nigerian time, is going to help us push price towards our direction for the bearish continuations. Okay, so this is what we should be looking forward for. But for the bullishness, I'm not seeing any bullishness for now, guys. I'm not seeing any bullishness for now. I can only look at the bullishness if only price breaks out of these highs. Okay, but for now we are still very much bearish. Remember, our overall trend is still bearish, so we're still working with our bearish confirmations to the downsides. Okay, so that's how you can enter your Euro USD. And like I always say, do well to mark out these levels on your PC, your phone, or whatever device you are using to trade. Okay, so up next is GBpusd. Looking for price to create a new lower high. So we would be having something like this, a retest on that zone. Then we can go back to targeting our 1.20. okay, 1.27 area. Okay, so remember, but for next week may be a little bit tricky, because price may also close with same thing that happened here. All right, next week may be more like a range. Okay, price may also close with a doji kind of candle, and if you can spot that by next week, but let's next week come though, if you can spot that will also be a very nice reversal pattern for us to take advantage all the way to the downside. Welcome back, guys. So you can see GBpusd, how we predicted it into precision. This is still the same our same monthly stroke weekly areas of interest in which we're looking for price to drop. Okay, so which price apparently played out into precisions. And remember, we are still going for, like we had here, 300 pips all the way to the downside. So we are still looking for over 300 to 400 pips drop. Okay, and between these 300 pips we have had, I think, like 100 and something pips already, 140, 150 pips drop already on the lower time frames. And another thing that you guys should have observed, which I don't know which if you guys actually did, this was also this area of this weekly area was where I screenshotted it and I had to use it as our thumbnail for last week video. So if you watch her last week video and you did not observe the thumbnail, this was the same trade in which I sent, or the same image in which I used for our last week video. So I always also put some informations, even from watching our videos. From the thumbnail you can see my kind of A setups of trades in which I'm looking for the coming weeks. Okay, so price most likely react off here, just like we can see, and we are still very much bearish. Remember, price is creating series of highs, okay, series of highs and lows, and we are expecting a new high, which the creation has already started, and a new low. Like I always say, price moves in a wave, and it will only make sense if you are riding with the wave or riding with the trend. And you know that we always trade from zones to zones. Okay, so this is why they call me the prophetic analyst, and we trade and we predict 500 to 1,000 pips into the future using our best trading setups and our best trading analysis. Okay, so if you are not our free Telegram community, join. Click on the link on the description below. And also this is also a trade breakdown. So this is the trade in which we sent out signals for last week, which has we had a very nice more than 1:2, somewhere around there. So price gave us a very nice setup, and a lot of money was being made. We caught this trade all the way from the 15 minutes time frame. Okay, if you go down to we can't really have time here on YouTube to explain that, but we caught it all the way for a 15 minutes time frame. Video of breaking it down is on our free Telegram community. You can go watch it and see how we were able to. So for those of you that think I don't go as low as the lower time frames to take trades, this is me doing it right in front of your face. I've been doing it on our general group for every other person there to see, and you can also join so that you could be a beneficiary of what we do. So I don't basically all the time stay on my higher time frames alone to take trade entries. There are times that I go to my 5 minutes, my 15 minutes to give you guys trade call setups. Okay, so this was a signal being sent, which I'm going to add it somewhere around in this video. So for this week, where is our best possible area? So I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, I'm going to adjust this like so, a little bit like so. Okay, so this makes sense. So what are we going to be looking forward for the coming weeks? Okay, we'll be looking for price to give us that breakout, which it has done. All right, a little pullback into these zones, a little pullback to that zones. All right, let me pick this again, a break, a retest back to that zones, and we should be targeting our next zones of our 1.23 all the way to the downside. So we are still very much bearish on GBPUSD, and mind you, we are still targeting over we are still targeting all the way to 1.21 area. Okay, and hopefully, like I said, NFP, in which is going to be released, is going to help us achieve that. So we are still looking for another 300 pips drop to the downside, and this first level will give you 100 pips drop to the downside. And overall, like I told you guys, since we are looking for over 2,000 pips drop, in which we predicted, so for just last week alone we had over 140 pips drop, in which we took opportunity on it, and I also showed you guys why and how we were able to do this. So we are very much bearish on GBPUSD, and up next is the DXY. The price could, for the 4-hour time frames, price could start rallying from here. Okay, maybe give us something like a range here, and before a continuation back to the upside. Welcome back. You can see the DXY, how we predicted the DXY into precision. I told you guys that we will be looking for a price to come to these zones. I think price was somewhere around here. This is Friday price close. All right, so I told you guys I will be looking for some pullbacks into this area and a range, okay, which basically you guys can see that range right there. All right, so that range actually happened just like we anticipated, and a bullish continuation to the upsides, in which we predicted this into precision. Okay, a lot of you may not be seeing this, but this is how we actually trade. So moving forward for this week, okay, nothing more like from what we did last week. So I'm going to push this or pull this a little bit out of that zones like so. So what are we going to look for price to break out here, retest, and then push continuations to the upside? We are still very much bullish, or we are looking for a bullish reversals. Mind you, like I told you guys from the last time, this was just a retracement. That's why you guys heard me mention that you shouldn't hold past these areas. Okay, I told you guys clearly, don't hold past the 107 area, because we understand that what we are trading are only retracements. It's not just the actual trend. All right, so you should be trading a retracement like one. Okay, so when you're hopping on a retracement, you know where to enter and where to exit, so that price will not have to pull back like so and get you bonds. Okay, so for the coming weeks, we are looking for more like, I'm going to give you guys one way scenario, guys. Okay, break, retest, and push continuations to the upside. And mind you, if you look left or looking down here, you see price is creating some sort of chart patterns. Okay, for those of you guys that may not be able to see it, all right, so you see that chart pattern right there. So price is giving us a very nice more like a head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder, pardon, inverse head and shoulder to the upside. So this will be actually confirmed when price has broken out of this retest, and we will be looking for our first level target, which is at 109. Then we can go back to all the way to 112 to the upside. So hopefully, like I said, NFP would be on our favor and make DXY bullish. And if this happens on the DXY making it bullish, then we should be expecting more bearishness on Euro, USD, GDP, and the rest. So that's it for DXY for this week. And up next is USDCHF retracement. For those retracement might look scary, guys. Okay, we could even have deeper retracement of price to our 0.89 area. Then apparently at the time you could see price continue to the up. Right, welcome back. I hope you can see how we predicted USDCHF into precision. So price was more like somewhere around here for last week, how we closed this bearish candle. So I told you guys that we'll be having some pullbacks into these zones, which is zones of 0.89 all the way to the downside, then before we can have bullish continuation. So what does this mean? That I predicted the bearishness, I also predicted the bullishness. So this is what you can benefit from trading with us or from joining our mentorship. Okay, so we are actually starting our February mentorship I think next week. Okay, so if you're interested to trade like a prophetic analyst and be able to decipher these things the way that I do and make trading easy for you, so that you could also be profitable on the long run, then our mentorship is for you. So click on the link on the description, join us on our mentorship and get the required knowledge. Okay, so that you can know how we are able to predict these things week in, week out into precisions. Okay, so we want the price to come back into that zones and the push continuations to the upside, just like you guys can see. I told you guys that price may be having, so if you go back to our 4-hour time frame, while this was happening, even during the week, we were able to spot some sort of strong confirmations on price. Okay, which that's how we were able to have this break, this retest again, and the push continuations to the downside, and that downside still matches with our 0.89 zones in which we were looking for price to hit to those areas. Okay, and mind you, why price is also trying to do that, the same thing that is happening on the DXY is replicating here. All right, so that's why you should really be strong on correlations. Okay, so we can see that beautiful head and shoulders kind of stuff, and there, so we have price, head and shoulders. So we more like have a double head and shoulders here, the first one and the second one. Okay, so even though you wish to pull it like somewhere around here, all right, so this is still a head and shoulder. So we have our neckline like so, we have the neckline here, which these zones here, which have already plotted already since last week. So like I said, what we did last week will still very much remain, and we'll look for break, retest, which we actually have right now. So this is more like an A setup right now. So even as price opens, all right, all you can do is long this. If it stops can go all the way below this weeks, okay, and you can target these zones of our 0.9 all the way to the upsides. Okay, so like I said, NFP, hopefully NFP is going to help us push price to the upside just like we wanted. So this is also more like an A setup for us on USDCHF. All right, so like I'll only give you guys bullish scenarios until proven otherwise that price is ready to sell. Okay, so that's it for USDCHF. Up next is USDJPY, and we wanted price to give us break, retest, and push continuations to the downside, in which we clearly had that. And price gave us a little bit of retracement back to these other zones here, but we actually had that break and retest or push price to the downside. This price came all the way close to our zones of our 1.53 areas, just like we anticipated and predicted. Okay, so for the coming weeks, no gimmicks, no nothing much about it. All right, so just like we have some zones here, so what should you be looking for price to break out here, retest, and push continuations to our first level, which is at 1.56. Then we can go all the way to our 1.58. okay, so this is more like let's see how many pips predictions to the upside. How can I see that? Over 300 pips to the upsides. Okay, over 300 pips all the way to the upside. So like I said, NFP basically would favor us all the way to the upsides. And how were we able to predict that bullishness to those zones? Okay, there's something here. All right, there's a lot of information that you guys have to learn through our mentorship. All right, there's actually a zone here, minor zone here, that happened, and for a lot of you guys that do smart bunny and SMC, you'll be using a lot of grammars. Okay, but price reacted off here, so from here we'll be seeing more push continuations to the upsides. Okay, so that will be it on USDJPY. And up next, the last but not the least, BTC. It's also more like a range play, guys, so it will only make sense that we trade off the breakout. Okay, so for the bearish scenarios, we wait for a breakout, there a retest, and a push continuations to our next zone, which is our 95k. Welcome back. I hope you can see how we predicted BTC into precision. We had for last week, this was looking like more like a head and shoulder, but this head and shoulders, what you guys doesn't know too is head and shoulders are basically ranges, guys. You can see at the time it was looking at a head and shoulder, and even then till now we still have all of this. Okay, so head and shoulders, every head and shoulders is always a range. All right, so if you did not learn anything today, just learn that head and shoulders are basically ranges. So for last week, like you guys saw, we wanted price to break out of this low, okay, break retest, which we had that, and apparently we had a trend line coming all the way from the upside, so price bounced off this trend line before continuation. So this was a very good 1:1, 1:2 due to the time frame in which, if you are executing this on the 15 minutes time frame, you have a very good RR of 1:2, between 1:2 and 1:3. okay, but price later had to go all the way to the upside. So what are we going to do? I'm going to extend this like so. All right, and we still keep replicating same thing. So we look for price to break, which our break has occurred, a retest, and a push continuations to our first zone, which is at 94k. All right, we are looking at massive bearishness on Bitcoin, guys. All right, now I know the crypto guys may not like this, but we are looking at price going back to 94k. Then apparently we could be tanking all the way to the downsides of our 90k to 89k. All right, so for now we are still very much bearish on BTC. Remember, BTC has broken this upper trend line, so we had just a minor bounce of this lower trend line like so we're expecting more bearishness to the downsides. Okay, so like I always say, do well to mark out these levels on your phone, your PC, or whatever device you're using to trade. Okay, so that's it for this week, guys. And if you are not yet like or subscribe to this channel, please do well to subscribe. We are looking forward to heading to 10,000 subscribers plus this year. Okay, so that could only be possible with you guys sharing our content across your social media platforms, and also drop a comment. Let's know your thoughts on our analysis, and also how well our weekly market analysis has helped you in trade anticipations and your trading so far. And also, if you're not in our free Telegram community, click on the link on the description below to join our free Telegram community. Always remember to plan your trades and trade your plan, and see you guys next week, and cheers.